So, owning a Honda Element, a lot of you know that people have turned these into campers. So, I often actually go on YouTube and look for other videos to see what other people have done. Um, I stumbled across this video. It is a kid who I'm sure is not old enough to drive, but he did a video of of making a camper, and it's interesting. So I'm going to play this at 1.75 times speed. This kid is very smart because he really thought of everything. He's basically making a stealth camper for under $10,000, and the main ingredient in it is the Honda Element. So let's watch this together.
We had a total of $10,000, right? Let's say you got kicked out of your house, you got evicted, and you need to live somewhere, and you don't have a car, you don't have anything, you just have pure $10,000. Let's start off with the car. I'm giving us a $5,000 budget, and I'm going with the Honda Element.
Okay, so his premise is that he has $10,000 and he needs to make a mobile place to live and work and everything else. Okay, let's see what he comes up
Maybe
with.
I say, well, why would I go with the Honda Element? They're cheap, they're rugged, and more importantly, the shape allows for easy maneuverability, especially when you're inside. So I'm going to try and find one here. Honda Element EX. Oh, it's actually listed. Just some front issues with the bumper. That's not that bad. You can probably clear that up. A nice, casual, boring interior. Not bad, actually. You know, you got the seats. It looks pretty clean. Seats could use some cleaning, but we'll talk about that later. Yeah, nice tailgate, nice everything.
Yeah, the Honda Element, for the size of the vehicle, it does have the most amount of room you could possibly imagine. I've seen pictures of people stacking unbelievable amounts of stuff, like full sheets of plywood and all kind off-road vehicles, skis, surfboards. It's got a lot of room. It doesn't look that big, but it is.
Just a good old classic car. So this is the car of which we are starting off with. This Honda Element EX from 2003. It's orange. And here we have Amazon. So
Okay, so he's already picked a vehicle as the Honda Element. He picked a 2003. Difference between the 2003 and the 2010 and on is the 2003, the seats fold all the way forward, whereas in 2010 they don't fold all the way forward like that. That's a big difference when you're buying one of these.
Blue T batteries is what we're going with here. So
Blue T, you mean Blue Eddy? Yeah, so I'm going to give you props on that one, kid. The Blue Eddy is a big name. Let's see what you come up with. Initially you picked the AC200L. It's a 2400 watt 2400 watt inverter, 2048 watt hour batteries, and it's 2 kilowatt battery with 2400 watts of power. And it is a LiFePO, which is a lithium iron phosphate, so he picked the right one. You don't want to go with lithium ion. The LiFePO batteries have a 3,000 to 5,000 cycle charge, whereas the other one's only 500.
I'm going to go with this one right here, because I feel like it would be the best. Now, you may say, add to cart. So with this... Oh, wait, whoops. Let me go back. I cannot add things to my cart. Do it.
Where are you getting the money for this, kid?
I don't want to sign in. You want to... Fine. Then I'm just going to click on each thing. No, because... Okay. Okay, so that worked. There we go. That worked. So
good choice.
I'm going to add things to my cart. Okay, there we go. So, this is the battery of which we're going to start with. This $999 Blue T battery right here. Now you may say, what good does that do us? That's right, we're going to install solar. Now you may say, well, that seems kind of idiotic. How in the hell are we going to do that when we're in a car, right? Like, how is that going to work? 100 watt, 200 watt, that's more what we want. You may say, oh, does this come with the battery?
That's a different model, though. That's half the wattage on the battery, so you literally have half the power, you know.
Oh, so this one comes with the panel, I'm guessing? Sure, I'm just going to say it goes with the panel. So,
don't get suckered in. That's not a good deal.
I am going to add cart. Will it let me? Okay, it will let me. So this item right here will be the basis for the entire thing. Because the Honda Element has a somewhat flat roof, we can actually drill holes and install solar. Now, I would recommend more than one panel, but it'll do for the time being.
Wait, hold on. Don't drill holes in the roof. Trust me. If you do that, you'll be lying there and water be dripping on you. Not a good idea. If you have a sunroof, which it probably does at that year, might as well just run it through the sunroof somehow. That way you don't have to... No holes.
This is how you're gonna eat, this is how you're gonna survive with solar, right? So again, with this car being $4,000, we have $6,000 to spend on the actual
plus 200 watts of solar is not gonna do it. So I have a 12 volt fridge, and it draws about 39 watts, runs 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I I have 200 watts of solar on my roof. It will, I live in Florida, so it will keep it charged. Well, the battery I have is an EcoFlow. We'll run it for 52 hours. And then depending on the day, whether it's fully sunny or not, it could go 3, 4, 5, 7 days. But then you get a cloudy day and you can, you run out of power. So I recommend a minimum 300 watts, ideally more. I would say you only have room for 300 watts of solar on the roof.
And right now we're almost up to 2, which means we only have a certain amount of money left for things. Next, microwave. We are going to get the cheapest one that we can. Why?
Okay.
Well, because you're going to realize just how important it is later that we get cheaper things. So here we go. This Emerson microwave looks pretty nice. This is what help us eat. It won't be the healthiest, but I think we can manage. I think we'll make it.
So I've looked into microwaves that run on 12 volts, and they're almost ridiculous. $900, doesn't run but a few minutes, draws too much power. So you have no choice when it comes to microwaves. You have to use an AC microwave. The 1.1 cubic foot is too big for that.
Right, we're going to go for the not so fancy one.
Okay, so you picked a 0.7 cubic feet. That's about right. Just to let you know, you can get that at Walmart for about $50 or less.
We're going to add that to our cart.
But again, you're doing this online, so they'll deliver. It's probably worth it.
So now we have a microwave. We have something to eat, right? So a lot of people go for sleeping bags, right? Well, for sleeper builds, I find out that they don't really work that amazingly well. So I'm going to go for a roll of foam. A roll of foam, just like this one. Maybe a couple of these. You may say, well, how is that at all useful for what we need it for? This is much more comfortable than a sleeping bag, in my opinion. And a lot of times, they're easily movable. Right now, we will get eventually some sort of bedding material for you to lay on. I'm going to add 2 of these to the cart. That way we can kind of cut it and fix it and match it exactly how we want. Maybe put some on the sides of us. That way we can really be held in with our Honda Element, right? So we've
Okay. Yeah, that doesn't... Okay. The foam you have, it looks like more of a yoga mat. That's not really that thick. I guess if you bundle it up, it might be a little better. I'd recommend a memory foam, a dual layer, maybe 4-inch memory foam, dual layer. Bottom layer is like a heavy foam, and the top layer is just like a memory foam, thin, to give you a little, cushion.
the foam, right? And now, you don't really need sheets, right? You're going to be sleeping in some weird positions, considering this Honda Element is big, but it ain't as big as you might think it will be. So, of course, we're going to take out the rear seats, get rid of them, and we're going to have this entire back area to ourselves. So I'm going to go for kind of a different approach. I'm going to say only one of these seat lengths running down the entire car will be where our bed will be. That'll be where the foam is. The other side can be like a shelf that'll go up right here, halfway, and then we can access the microwave and Bluetooth stuff from the inside from our sleeping bag, and then we can have a net on the top, and then maybe some entertainment. We'll get to that.
Okay. So, the one thing I'm seeing is you should maybe have a platform or some kind of a sleeping bed or a cot or something, because, well, if you put the foam on the floor, that's fine, but then you kind of wasted all the space. Maybe build something up. Currently, I have a Coleman folding cot that actually fits exactly the length of the Honda Element. You wouldn't need to buy anything. Plus, you can stuff containers underneath of it, and your Bluetti as well. So that might be an option. I'll post that link in the description for anyone interested.
Right. So I'm gonna pick a blanket, 19, solid, fuzzy, soft, and warm. I think we want to get something nice. Just something that looks like. There we go. This looks nice. Hell, we can even get a fancy color. Why not blue? I'm just gonna add to cart. I'm just gonna get us some blankets. Because
yeah, it might get cold, so it depends on where you're at. Now, that type of blanket might attract a bunch of dirt and dust and stuff like that, because it seems like you go outside and then you come inside and you got all these little sticker bushes attached to it. And pain in the ass to clean off,
It's gonna be cold, real cold. It's gonna get cold really quickly, really quickly, right? So we are going to need a couple of these. I'm also gonna get this one, even though I know it's probably really small and not the size that they say it is. It comes in teal and cyan, so I might as well get some yellow, just to brighten up the build here, right? So we've got our entire means to sleep, a little bit of a means to eat, right? What are we going to do next?
I don't know.
Mini fridge, that is right. We are going to need to have a mini fridge on hand at all times. That is going to be very, very, very important. Then you may say, well, how are we going to fit a mini fridge in? We can afford to get a taller one, because of how flat the Element's body is, the entire thing is flat. It's a very flat car. Like you see in the interior, it's a very good utility vehicle.
Yeah, the use of space inside, it's not curved or anything. You probably could fit a double or a larger size mini fridge. Now, these are 120 volt mini fridges, not 12 volts. The ones I have run off of 12 volts. Ideally, you don't want to step up the voltage to 120, because then you're losing efficiency from the battery. Yeah, my 52 hours that I'm running is 43 watts, 12 volt mini fridge, single zone. But it's nowhere near as big as some of these mini fridges are.
Because this rear is so tall, we can probably fit a fridge in there, probably reaching out to about half the Honda logo. It'll be uncomfortable for sleeping, but we can take that foam and put it up against the appliances and be kind of cuddled in when we need it, right? So that could of course work, that is where we're going to put the mini fridge. So I'm going to get this nice Black & Decker because we don't want it going out, right? We don't want to buy something cheap. And we don't need...
Black & Decker's not bad. They're all made in the same China factory. Now, one thing to keep in mind, do not ever buy a thermoelectric cooler. Difference between a thermoelectric cooler and a fridge is this actually has a compressor, and that means that it can cool, all the way down to freezing temperature. A thermoelectric fridge can only do 30 degrees below the ambient temperature. So if the cabin is 122 degrees, like it is here in Florida, your fridge would be at like 100, maybe 98 degrees or 90 something degrees. So yeah, a real fridge can definitely work better, but remember this is 120 volts, so it's probably going to draw 50, 63 watts or whatever. It's going to draw more than my 12 volt fridge would, because the loss of, when you step it up using an inverter built into the Bluetti.
Something that big, considering it's mainly just microwavable foods and meals. So I'm just going to add that to cart. Oh, thanks. There we go. So we've got this added to cart. We now have an entire complete setup of means to eat, but we still have a lot of money left. So what are we going to go? What are we going to do? We are going to buy a television, and we are going to buy a 24-inch Insignia. I like Vizio for some reason. I don't know. But we want something light and cheap, so I'm going to go with the Insignia. And you may say, why is...
Okay, well, that's good. I mean, you need some sort of entertainment.
And cheap important, and why are you getting a television when we're in a car? Well, in a build that I saw, a sleeper build, they had the TV mounted to the ceiling using the same bolts as the solar panel. So while you're laying down, you can see the TV, and then you can tilt it when you want to be leaning more down. So, of course, that's going to be some entertainment for us. And you may say, well,
okay, hold on. So the solar panels you were drilling through the roof, I don't think that's a good idea. You can mount the TV anywhere. You can mount it on the side or whatever, but don't drill holes in the roof.
It just doesn't work on its own. You are correct. That's why we're going to get a Fire TV, right? We need it, right? $49. That's not a lot to ask, but wait, no, we are not. Why?
Why?
Because like I said, we're starting off with nothing. We're going to need to earn some more money, and the best way to earn money is by having a computer that can handle it. So this 2020 thing, I'm going to do 16 gigabyte RAM, 256 gigabyte SSD, Space Gray. This.
Okay. I like that you went with Mac, smart kid here. You're not going to be doing with Windows bullshit. That's great. This is an older model, and I don't like the processor. It's an i3. If you can afford to get an M1, that would be way better. I do like you got 16 gigs of RAM. The storage might be a problem, but you could always, plug in external drives or whatever. The older Macs, you could run Windows. You could dual boot Windows and Mac. Just hold down a button, it boots up to Windows. Hold down a button, it boots up to Mac. The newer ones actually run Windows in a window. You have to buy a program called Parallels. So if you wanted to play games and all that stuff, you still could. I would recommend an M1, a refurbished one, if you're going to spend that kind of money. Look around, because the i3 isn't old. It's just a crappy processor. i5, i7 if you're going to stick with Intel.
Will be our computer. We'll be able to use it. We'll like it. And then I'm going to go USB-C to HDMI.
And by the way, I do commend you for saying, look, you need a computer because the house you're going to earn some money. That's a great idea.
Be able, to functionally have something that will hook up to the TV, talk to it, cradle it at night, and that way we can actually have a device that we can watch TV with.
Okay, good idea. So instead of going through wireless dongles and all kinds of Fire TVs and Android TVs, you're just basically plugging USB-C into an HDMI. You won't run into any problems. You won't need any Wi-Fi or anything like that. That's awesome. Good idea.
Right, so we can use that when we need it. Now you may say, why not just a projector? They're clunky, they take up some space, and the TV, when you can bolt it to the same drills you've already drilled through the ceiling.
Don't drill into the ceiling. Don't drill into the roof. It's going to leak on your ass.
Don't matter that much. Now, I'm going to put in a new stereo to this build. You may say, well, why the hell do we need a new stereo, right? Because the Honda Element is somewhat lacking in the tech department, and I feel like we could, really, really use it. So I'm just going to kind of explain. So back here, the microwave's going to be here, fridge is going to be standing up there, Bluetooth can scoot right in between, we can have everything set up, right? We're going to have, we can slot our MacBook in there if we need to, leave it on the seat, and we can live a nice life, and it can be nice, right? So I am going to put a new stereo in because since this car is lacking so much in the tech department because it's from, 2003, I feel like we could use a new stereo that could maybe sync with our phone. So I'm going to get like a reputable unit. I don't want to get junk. Doubled in I just have to say, Amazon is...
Okay. So I did this. I actually bought a full touch screen Android based stereo system. I put it into my Honda Element and it worked, but it was a piece of crap. And literally, I shit you not, I was listening to the radio one day and it just crashed. The radio crashed. What kind of radio can crash? Well, it's obviously some buggy software. I ripped it out. I put the original one back in. What I did was I just got a Bluetooth receiver. So next to the cigarette lighter, on the passenger side is also a 3.5 millimeter line in. So get yourself a little, Bluetooth receiver with a 3.5 millimeter output and powered off of the USB. And you just use the cigarette lighter there, and that's it. You just use. I like that you're using the car stereo as your sound. Why not? You don't need speakers. You can just use the built-in speakers. Good idea.
A trash pile. I'm gonna do Sony. Does Sony even make cars? Yes, they do. Okay, this one.
Okay, so this is good. At least you picked a name brand. I think the Sony would not be rebooting and stuff and crashing and everything else. And the other thing is, it's a pain in the ass to put in. You have to get harnesses with the wires. You don't have to cut things. I would recommend Crutchfield.com to get the wiring harness and the actual mounting kit so it all fits and looks nice. At least you're getting a name brand, and this one supports Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. So yeah, not bad.
It's pretty nice. It's expensive, but I think we can afford it and handle it because I think that's very important to our
And it's also got Bluetooth, so you can Bluetooth the MacBook or your phone or whatever over to it.
survival, right? Now, the Honda Element, I would usually recommend getting some big snow tires on there, some big chunky snow tires, right? So I'm going to leave us just some wiggle room to maybe do whatever the maintenance that needs done on the car. Remember, we need...
Snow tires, depending on where you're at. I have all-terrain tires because one time I got stuck in the front of somebody's house, and it was very embarrassing that I had to call a tow truck. And I'm like, if I just had better tires. Now, doing that is going to give you worse gas mileage and more road noise, but I don't care. I just got mad that I got stuck in the grass. That was so ridiculous.
Actually, survive in this thing for a decent amount of time. Right? The TV could go right there, the solar could go right over it. So...
Oh, you do have the, looks like you do have the sunroof. So do me a favor, run the wires through the sunroof somehow.
We need to survive in here for a decent amount of time, so we're definitely not spending all the money. The goal is to just have some place to live that is at least somewhat functional for us, which I think we can accomplish. So we've got means to sleep, means to eat, means to stay entertained. We've got about everything there is. We can just go other places if we need to use the bathroom, right? And that is pretty much all we...
Okay. Now, hold on. The bathroom. I have a cassette toilet that you can take a dump in or pee, and you can flush it and everything. I'll be honest with you, I never used it. But I do have it in case I needed it. But I would recommend, at the very least, you have one of those little things that they have in the hospital that you can pee in or whatever it is. Those little urinal things or whatever. Because in the middle of the night, if you have to pee, you're not going to have to go drive somewhere or pee outside or whatever. They also have fold-up toilets and stuff like that. Maybe you can get for $40. Again, I've never used it, but it's nice in case you have an emergency or something, Obviously, you'd have to take a shower and stuff, and my recommendation for that is to get a gym membership and just pay the $20 a month and take a shower every day. Plus, you could also get some exercise in.
Need now. Just look up, see if we can get any, things. I think these car seat covers. Now you may say, well, that sounds silly, that sounds terrible. Why would we get that? Remember, you live out of your car, which means you're going to be sitting in there a whole lot. A whole lot. You're going to be sitting in there quite a bit. And you're going to be
eating food and spilling drinks and everything. It's a good idea to have a seat cover, yeah.
Quite a bit as well. And they're corny, but they're not that corny. And I think they'll hold up relatively well, especially considering this specific Honda Element is kind of a worn out front bumper and torn seats, as you can see there. So we definitely...
Yeah, just cover it up. It's cheaper.
Some seat covers. Just to stay humble, right? And we have the car's air conditioning system if we ever need it, right?
Yeah, so that's a good point. When it gets hot or cold, what are you going to do? You could... air conditioning is one of the biggest things that use power. So don't think about running the battery for long. I think with a 48 watt hour battery, you can only run an air conditioner for like 4 or 5 hours. Then you're totally dead. And that 200 watt solar panel is not going to charge it fast enough. So now I can tell you this though. There's a device made by EcoFlow, ECOFLOW. and it's called an alternator charger. It only works with their solar batteries or whatever, the higher end stuff, of course. It connects directly to the alternator of the car, and then depending on the car's, alternator, it will charge your solar battery, whatever it is, in this case EcoFlow, up to 800 watts. So you could literally just start the car and let the gasoline engine run and charge your stuff. Now that depends on how fast the engine's running. If you're idling, it's going to probably be about 400 watts, maybe, 3 to 400 watts. And as you're driving, it would be 6 to 800 watts being dumped directly into your battery. This is called the EcoFlow alternator charger. It only works with EcoFlow products. Now, the other thing is, you can use that as a jump starter. If your main battery dies for some reason, you left the stereo on too long, you go into the app, you change the button over, and that will dump voltage back in and charge your battery back up, which is cool. But you have to be in the EcoFlow ecosystem because it only works with some of their higher end products. I just wanted to let you know.
If we ever need a air conditioning system, we can use it.
Okay, so back to the air conditioning thing. Since it isn't really plausible to run the air conditioner off of these batteries, at least not without using a ton of power, you might as well just use the air conditioner and or heater of the Honda Element. If you get too cold, you can start the engine or whatever, and then, let it run. I would recommend you get a carbon monoxide sensor. And what that is it checks to make sure that there's no fumes leaking back into the cabin. They're probably $20-$30. That's important. Also get a fire extinguisher, you never know. Smoke detector, simple stuff like that can't hurt. Yeah, but starting the car is a pain in the ass. You have to go up to the front and turn the key. You might be lying in bed. It's 2 o'clock in the morning and you're cold. Well, my solution to that would be is get yourself a remote starter. And this has to be professionally installed. And you can sit there, you push a button. It starts and runs the engine for 20 minutes and automatically shuts off. Now, that could be used for air conditioning and or heat. I am actually going to try to make a system that automatically turns on and off and keeps the cabin at a reasonable temperature. Now that I have the remote starter put in, you have to have that put in because it does all kinds of stuff. It checks the engine RPM and it makes sure that it started right and all that stuff. And then it shuts off as well. It also locks the door so nobody can steal your car.
But I do think we will need a fan, something just to tide us over. And with this, if we get a somewhat decent fan, I think we could probably live in this thing, for when it gets hot. We can use the car's heater. How about this?
So you have two choices for a fan. You have a 12-volt fan or 120 volts, since, the 120 volts going to use probably a little more wattage. 12-volt fans don't move as much air as the bigger ones do,
Little Pelonis 3-speed.
This probably uses about 56 watts. So keep that in mind when you're draining it.
7-inch or 12-inch? Oh, 12-inch all the way. No, we don't really have time with it. I'll go with the 7-inch. So with this, we have a fully functioning car build that we...
Also consider getting a clamp-on fan. You could clamp it onto something and aim it at, that way it doesn't have to sit there. When you're driving, it doesn't flop around.
That would be absolutely perfect and nice enough for us to actually survive. And I think we can make it. Next, I'm going to get a car shelf net. See, here we go.
Cargo net, yeah. So I have one, and I have it tied between those little handles that sit above the seat. There's a handle on the passenger side and the driver's side, and then there's also ones in the back seats. So if you get one that loops around the handles, it's easy. You just tighten the strap and it stays there, and you can stash your blankets and pillows and whatever else, laundry.
Just a little. It's meant for it to be a cargo net, but if you really take each four of these things and then drill into the roof, you could just have.
Whoa! I told you, don't drill into the roof, man. It's not a good idea.
A completely normal roof atop your car.
You could use tie wraps if you wanna before you drill into the roof. I mean, these are cool. Once you drill into the roof, man, you're gonna get lakes everywhere. Just don't do it.
Which we can keep things in, right? Of course, we'll have to tie it down to the net, but I think I think we can make it. And now for a phone, right? We need a phone. In 2024, you're going to need to do navigations. You're going to need to do all that happy crap. Now, usually
Yeah, definitely get a phone and maybe some kind of wireless charging mount on the front. So that could be your GPS and also your communication. It could also stream music and everything.
stand, but with the Honda Element, considering it has so many nicks and crannies, I'm not really too concerned with that. We can just put it in the cup holder and just leave it there, you know?
You could do that. Make sure you get yourself a cigarette lighter charger as well.
We'll be fine. So, I'm going to put the iPhone, dun 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 XR, because if we break it,
Well, I like that you picked an iPhone, not an Android piece of shit. You know, to me, I like iPhones better. They're more reliable. There's less. You don't have to run antiviruses and crap like that. It's just a better built phone.
it won't sting
Although this is a little older, it still will work, I guess.
too much. It will not sting that much if we drop it. And it's a pretty nice phone. It's nice, right? We can get like a nice fun color to kind of cheer us up, and then we can add that to cart. So it can have all the stuff. And with that, we are done. This is a fully
Okay, so you could use the phone as, depending on your carrier, whoever you choose, you could use the phone as a tethering device. So you could turn on this little Wi-Fi hotspot, and then you could use the Mac connected to the phone. Now you have internet, or you could use somebody's Wi-Fi or whatever it is. So, for example, Metro PCS has a plan that you get unlimited data and text and phone, and then they give you 15 gigabytes of tethering, which wouldn't last too long, but it's enough in case of an emergency or whatever. But you can buy more time or whatever.
functioning sleeper build that you can sleep in. A nice little RV type camper sitch, right? Oh,
What?
wait a minute. We forgot
What?
a sink. So,
A sink, yes. That's might want to brush your teeth or something.
we need a car sink. Yeah, like this. Just a little itty bitty sink.
The Boxio is actually pretty cool. So it's a foreign country. It's made in a foreign country. I think it's German or French or something. It's a little box, and inside there's two little tanks. There's one tank that has water, and the other one is the exact same size, and it's empty. And then there is a little squeeze bulb you see on the left. You squeeze that like 4 or 5 times, and it pressurizes the system. Then you turn the sink on, and a little water pours out. I mean, it's not, you're not going to be taking a shower here or doing dishes, but it is nice to have a little sink there. You could make one for $20-50. Boxio is already ready to go.
Which we can just keep in the car when we need it. You may say, well, why? Because let's say we're preparing something. We don't always want to get out of the car. And let's say it's the middle of the night.
Yeah, it might be raining. You might be in an unsafe neighborhood. You never know. This is stealth camping we're talking here. So you want to keep it as, covert as possible.
We're trying to make some food. We don't want to have to go into McDonald's, do we, to get our water. So we're going to add a sink. Now, again, the Bluetooth should be able to power all this. The solar can charge the batteries when it's daytime, and we can use it when it's nighttime, because when it's daytime, we'll just be driving the car. And we're
Okay, you forgot one thing. You need like some sort of USB light or hanging camping light or something, although you do want to keep stealth, so you may have to blog out the windows depending on where you're kind of illegally camping, you know what I mean? The stealth camping is basically camping in places that aren't designated as regular camping spots, so you're not paying $40 a night or whatever it is. But on the other hand, you're in some parking lot, who knows?
no matter what you do, always keep this electrical system that powers all this separate from the car's electrical system. Never tie the two together. It seems like a good idea, right? Because the car already has a 12-volt battery, and that's pretty comparable to the Blue T, right? No, not at all.
You're absolutely right. Car battery is only meant to start the car, and that's about it. Run the accessories when the engine is running. That's it. So no, I've tried doing that, and it actually, if you change the battery to a deep cycle marine battery, you can run the fridge, a small fridge, a 20-liter fridge, but I don't recommend it because the battery's very expensive. It doesn't last. It isn't worth it. Remember, go back to the EcoFlow alternator charger. That'll tie into your system. It also keeps it isolated, so that will charge your EcoFlow or whatever. I don't think Blue 80 has that yet. They'll probably will come out with it.
You will destroy that battery. It is meant for car, not car and microwave and phone and everything. The Blue T is supplied more than enough, and if you try to run solar into that battery with this car, it'll explode so fast your head will go flying across the Walmart parking lot.
The maximum wattage you can draw out of a Honda Element, I would say, is under 1,000 watts. So, and that microwave uses 700. So you definitely don't want to be drawing power directly from that battery. Even if the engine's running, you could burn up the wiring for the alternator.
sleeping. I mean, it's true, right? So with all of this is my sleeper build. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and, you know, it should be good. Now, you may notice this car is $4,000, and this is only about $3,500, which means we only spent about $6,500 on this entire setup. $6,500, which leaves us with $3,500 for whatever we need in the future. Car, gas, until we get ourselves off of our feet. So with that, thank you for watching. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and you can see all the items we have here. I'm really happy to report that this went well, and I'm happy, and I look forward to doing more in the future. So as always, thank you for watching. Comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you guys soon. We had a total of 10.
I will definitely give you a thumbs up, and I can't subscribe. That would be kind of weird. You know, people think I'm some kind of creep or whatever, but whatever. I found your video by accident. I have to say that you came up with some really cool ideas. You're a really smart kid. I don't know how you did this, but pretty damn good for your first time. You know, a few things you'd learn from, you know, from other people or whatever, or actually, you know, I'm going to post my video of a bunch of different rigs that I've made with the Element. One of them is so advanced you wouldn't believe it, but I wound up selling it because to me, it was too much. I wanted to get back to basics, simple. Keep it simple, stupid, kiss. You know, and you'll see I'll make a video of my current rig, which is it is a 12-volt fridge. It is an EcoFlow 2048 watt-hour battery with a 2400 watt inverter, 200 watts of solar, which should be 300 watts because it just barely keeps everything charged. An EcoFlow alternator charger so I can charge when I'm driving, and a Coleman cot that perfectly fits in the back on one side down the middle. You have like half of it is just, you know, you can sit on, and the other half is like an aisle. You have space to put shit, so it's kind of cool. But I have to give you props. You did a really good job. I think you're too young to drive, but, you know, I see people doing this nowadays because rent is getting to be ridiculous. $2,600 a month for like a piece of crap apartment or whatever. I understand why. If you look up Honda Element patent. They just filed a patent, the United States Patent Office, of a brand new Honda Element that has all of this stuff built in. It even has like a bathroom and a pop-up thing and all this shit, but it's not out yet. It has an extending like thing that slides out so it gets even bigger. It has a bed and everything, but we don't know when it's going to come out, if it's going to come out. I mean, this Honda Element thing is definitely a cult following. I mean, I never realized it. And just the other day, I had somebody put a note on my car saying, hey, if you're interested in selling it, call me or whatever. So it's kind of cool. But good job, kid. Good job. You're really smart. I got to give you props, man. Yeah, no, if you have any question, I guess post it under mine. I'll try to answer the best I can.